Well, my name is Charles A. Scheibal, and I'm originally from Glen Carbon. And I moved to Edwardsville, back in the, let's see, we went to, in 1963, I think we moved to Edwardsville from Glen Carbon. And I was married then, and we lived in Glen Carbon until we had a quick project trip to Rochester to New York, where I built a couple of good projects in New York, and then we came back here, and I eventually opened an engineering office and ran an engineering office here, and then I sold that and went into the U.S. Agency for International Development, doing infrastructure projects overseas for I didn't know where, and they would never tell you anywhere ahead of time.
What brought you to the lake?
What, pardon?
What brought you to the lake?
Oh, you mean
to Dunlap Lake?
Essentially, well, see, originally I liked the lake because it was not very heavily populated, and we used to swim naked on it. Well, there wasn't anybody around. And I was from Glen Carbon, and Glen Carbon didn't have, well, I grew up in Glen Carbon, there was 900 people. I knew every one of them by name because I had two paper routes, one in the morning and one in the afternoon, delivering papers, newspapers. And then I did the red water meters in the summertime. And eventually, when I was old enough to drive, I got a job driving a delivery truck for the grocery store. So I've known everybody in Glen Carbon because there were only 900 people at the time. I probably don't know 900 of the 17 or 18,000 they got now.
Yeah. Tell me about the history of this lake and how it has changed.
Okay, I don't know a lot of the history. I know the Dunlap people had the original design of it, the layout, and when I started doing some engineering work here with my company, we were both doing street improvements, road improvements, and the full water system and wastewater system. When I started that job, there was not every house had to have a well and a septic tank for the wastewater. There was no, well, a few had running water if they were close to the city lines that were like out Franklin Avenue and that kind of thing. But the project I did for the water and sewer was for the whole subdivision, everywhere. And at the time, where the subdivision is, what's the name of that subdivision on the other side of the lake, on this end of the dam?
The North Shore?
Yeah. What is it?
North Shore?
Yeah, North Shore. That wasn't even there. That's where Dunlaps had their house and their one of the Edwardsville service clubs had their headquarters there, and I can't think of. I was a member, and I can't remember.
I think the Gun Club was there.
Well, but it was more than the gun club because one of the juniors. What was it? Junior Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, okay.
We had our headquarters there.
Wow.
Yeah, and then we started that Junior Chamber of Commerce when I was one of the first members with I think 15 other guys, something like that. And that was before any of this water and sewer work were done. We hit some major problems with the sewer work, mainly because of the terrain and the ups and downs, and I can't remember how many times I had to change. I didn't have to change. I did alternative designs to see which was the most cost effective, and 7 or 8 of them. You do it in a hurry now on a computer, you'd be able to crack it out like nothing. But that was a big job just getting that done. And then I had some funny stories after we finished the project, because I knew that we were going to have to get awfully close to some of the houses with our excavations. So whenever we did, I asked for permission from the owners, and we had a photographer come in and from the interior photograph the walls and the ceilings and stuff. And we had that paid off tremendously for the city and us, and the contractor too, because we had 2 or 3 people, not right away, but a few months after we opened up everything, they would call in and say, "Oh, you guys ruined this and you ruined that, and this isn't working, and it's all your fault. You're gonna have to pay for it." I would say, "Well, come into the office. We have some pictures. We'll share them with you. We'll see." And most of the time it was, like I can remember one guy, when I told him he had pictures, he said, "Well, okay, let me see those pictures." He said he was complaining that we dug too close to the house, and it caused his porch to kind of slant in, whereas his gutter wasn't draining. It was in like a V. And we had before and after pictures of that front of that house. And I showed that to him. "Oh," and he just walked. But we had those kinds of precautions because you needed that. And we dug right next to some houses, and some houses in the low spots where it was more cost effective to put in a pumping facility just for that house and get up to the sewer than to dig all the way down and pick up everybody else on the sewer for that depth. So it was a tough job to really get through it. We had fun doing it, and it was successful, I believe.
Where did the homes before the sewer system? What did the homes out here use?
They would have a septic tank on their property. So they had big lots. They didn't have a lot of smaller lots you have now. They had wells, water wells. Like the house I live in had a water well right under the house. And they had septic system in the front of the yard.
Did any of them dump into the lake?
Well, I'm sure not directly probably, but the septic tanks would have to be, pumped out. And I don't know, you'd hire a guy to come and pump it and haul off the waste. But I would suspect there were probably a few people that wouldn't call them cheaters, but they were bending the rules and that kind of thing.
How long did that project take to design?
I think design construction was only like 2 years. It's in the mid-70s, if I recall, like 74 to 77 maybe, something like that.
What are some of your earliest memories of living on this lake?
Say that?
What are some of your earliest memories of living on this lake?
Well, my earliest memories was not living on the lake when I was still in high school, and we had friends who had a lot, and if you had a lot, you could get on the lake and swim. And so a bunch of guys from Glen would come out, and we would get on the lake with that, and we'd swim across the lake and be on the other side too. But we were bending the rule to come out to swim. And I was kidding about swimming. We had to swim in swimming suits.
How has living on the lake affected your life and the lives of those around you?
Right now? We moved onto the lake 2 years. I retired in 2001. And Judy had, she knew we were retiring. She left 6 months early, and she bought a house in Gettysburg, a brand new house. And it was a nice house, and we liked it and everything, except the backyard was straight down. It was like, you step off the porch and fall 90 feet downhill. But anyway, and she bought it brand new, and she never did like a new house. She was a no, old house, old furniture, and I'll fix it up. I'll fix it the the way I like it. And that's what she did. She was looking for something to fix up, and we were having trouble finding it. And in fact, we were going to buy the house that somebody built one on the end of Lotus. It was on this side of the street, right on the point. And we actually we agreed to the sale price on this that they were offering, and then the buyer wanted to increase it a little bit, so we told him to shove it. But we ended up. Judy found this house. It was for sale by the company, by the loan company in Chicago. It was a credit loan, a loan company in Chicago had it for sale because the people that bought it were from Granite City, and they were, they were having a regular party most of the time, and it was, you couldn't believe it was. I'm surprised even Judy would attempt to tackle that problem, because it had, every room had something really big wrong with it, and it had a swimming pool that hadn't run it wasn't running at the time, and it had run but it didn't, and they had dumped furniture, rocks, bottles, whatever, bicycles into the pool. The people that were renting it and then got kicked out, they dumped it because they didn't pay their rent. They dumped all their crap in the pool. And they left in the house, on the kitchen, they left, I think, a half gallon of milk or cream that exploded. And the people that were renting it were selling foreign birds, exotic birds, out of the house, and they were storing them in the master bedroom where we were. And in that master bedroom, there was not one piece of wood out of the windows. That was all picked up and chewed up, and we had to replace every windowsill in that bedroom. Plus, we tore all of the windows out of the front of the house and put new big windows in and all that kind of stuff. Otherwise, it was in horrible shape. I was surprised. Judy went in on it's got a great heating system. It's got the ground, low-level hot water radiators, baseboard radiators, hot water heat. I mean, it's quiet. You don't hear it. There's no air, no dust blowing around. And so she wanted to save that, but they had taken the covers off those radiators, and they got all bent up. The fins on the radiators are all bent. She sat down for 3 solid days on her butt on the floor, going around straightening those fins in those radiators. She did say, yeah, I would have never even attempted that.
Wow. How has living on the lake affected your life and the lives of those around you?
Well, I guess one thing, I have more swimming people around, and it's what I liked best about it wasn't even relevant or recognizable at the time I was working here, and that's the fact that Glick Park was built, and it was built right behind the house that we live on, and that's like having an extra gorgeous big backyard, big playground and everything else back there. Well, that's the main thing that I like, is I don't have to go anywhere for any recreational. I was always a runner to stay in shape and that kind of thing, and I walk a lot. Now I can't do either. but it was very handy at the time to just go out, go around the whole program. They, and I guess I've seen the change because I was coming here even when I was in high school. The school bus I had to ride from Glen Carbon came through Dunlap Lake to pick up kids and take them to high school. So I met a lot of the kids from Dunlap Lake in high school, and I've always had friends live out here. So Judy was the one who really picked it out, and she was just looking for an older home and not a new one.
What have been some of the major events that have taken place on or around the lake during your time here?
Major events? You mean worldwide or?
No, here in our community, here in Dunlap.
I never thought about that. I've been here since 2000, or 20. We moved in 2003, so I've been here 20 years now, and I'm trying to think.
Well, you think about that for a minute and I'll go on to the next question. How's that? How has the local community changed over the years?
Well, the local community, I think, has become more sensitive about their property and taking good care of it and not letting it, grow into weeds and that kind of stuff. When people, well, of course, people are living on it now, and people, I don't know how many lots out here originally sold to people in Granite City. People we used to swim on their property, they were from Granite City. They had a property out off the end of a park, and we'd hop in there and come over this side. So I think that's one of the major things is people are paying, well, they're living here too, and they're not just fishing here. A lot of them bought a lot just to come and fish. And that was important to them. Some of them were just boaters, wanted to be on a water boat. So.
Have there been any particular moments or experiences that stand out in your mind from your time living on the lake?
Ooh, how what now?
Have there been any particular moments or experiences that stand out in your mind from your time living on the lake?
Well, I remember that one musical night a couple of years ago.
Tell us about it.
Huh?
Tell us about it. What musical night?
Well, it was great because Judy loved the place, and that was the last time she was alive. She was dead the next 2 days later.
Oh, I am so sorry.
Yeah.
Was that the block party?
Yeah.
Oh, the block party.
Yeah, and she was sitting with a bunch of her friends, and on the hillside they were playing. What is it? The musical group. Something.
Yeah. Who was there 2 years ago? Is that Lanny and
More pleasure.
More pleasure.
What?
More pleasure.
Yeah, more pleasure. Yeah, that was her favorite, and I liked it too. And so we'd sit there on the hillside, had our meal, and listened to the music, and walked home.
What advice would you give to someone who is new to living on the lake based on your own experiences and knowledge?
Okay. What would I would tell them to stay in touch with the board, and if you have any issues, bring it up with them and see if they could give you a good explanation. That's partly what they're there for. And if you have questions about how to get something done, you go to them. You ask, or ask your neighbors. Your neighbors are helpful and everything. I got my neighbor helping me now, helping me put together this program. Hopefully, if I live long enough.
What do you think the future holds for the lake and the community that lives here?
Well, that's a what do you call it, $1,000 question or whatever, $1 million question, because it all depends on EPA and where the environmentalists take the issues on how to deal with the water that comes off the lake. I wouldn't say that we're done with any of the work that's needed if they change the rules and regulations. They can, I'll tell you, in Washington, you can get some crap come out of there that it doesn't make any sense to anybody except a politician.
Yeah. Are there any pieces of knowledge you would like to leave with us before you leave here today?
Do what now?
Are there any pieces of knowledge that you would like to leave with us before you leave here today?
About the lake, or just about anything?
Yeah, sure. The lake, the community, Edwardsville, anything.
Well, I just say, like I said, I think, and I would expect the board would be receptive, but if people have problems, don't hesitate to ask a board member, is there anything the board can do for me, or can you help me? Can you point me in this direction? Can you point me in that direction? Or ask neighbors like me who would give you good advice and maybe not be good, and maybe not good advice, who knows? I don't always make the right decision, but I try to, and that's all you can ever do. Can't be perfect. Yeah, I guess you can.